Tonight, as temperatures drop, energy prices are set to rise. Households will see a slight increase in gas and electricity prices in the new year, despite expectations prices would fall.
I used to put in like £30 every 2 weeks, and that doesn't even do a week anymore. We're just going so far.
Also on tonight's programme.
I have no desire to return to frontline politics anytime soon, and I don't think there's any prize that's big enough.
Kate Forbes says not even the top job would tempt her to return to politics. Celtic's AGM is abandoned after the director accuses some of the club supporters of being bullies. As levels of retail crime soar, we follow the police teams cracking down on shoplifters.
Coming up in tonight's sport, Rangers are counting the cost of the international break, with 4 players facing spells on the sidelines.
I'm Laura Goodwin and this is Reporting Scotland. With temperatures last night dropping to -12 in some places, keeping warm right now is essential. But the cost of energy is high and will go up again, although only by a small amount in January. The energy regulator Ofgem has put the price cap up by 0.2%. The annual cost for a typical home using gas and electricity will be £1,758. Our business correspondent David Henderson has been looking at the consequences of fuel bills staying stubbornly high.
Temperatures have plunged well below zero, and in some parts like Aberdeen there's been snow lying. That's a moment perhaps to get indoors and turn up the heating. But can you afford to? At the Seafine Community Hub there's help on offer when energy bills are getting too high.
I'm a single mum on benefits just now, so I've had to go as like pay as you go, so like a smart meter to top up to see what I'm using. But yeah, it's like electricity is just sky high. I used to put in like £30 every 2 weeks, and that doesn't even do a week anymore. We're just going so far.
Derek, who's a volunteer at this centre, has found it hard to pay his energy bills.
Well, when I was in arrears, I was well over £1,000 arrears. I've now just no longer paid it back. But I pay monthly, and I pay about £183 a month. And if the bill's any more, the bill will go up.
Today, more tough news for energy customers. The regulator Ofgem has increased the price cap for households on variable tariffs, so most bills are set to go up yet again. This change to the price cap means a 25 pence per month rise in a typical household energy bill. That's marginal, but it still means that household bill is over £146 per month. That's far higher than before the energy crisis, and it's a continuing drain on household finances.
Do they supply gas and electric?
Charities like this one, Advice Direct Scotland, say they're getting more calls from people owing money on unpaid bills and charges to energy suppliers.
Our calls are increasing daily. We're seeing people struggling financially across the board. Energy bills is one extra thing now families are having to struggle with. On the lead up to Christmas, that pinch is just going to be felt a little bit more. The fact that families are having to now plan whether they're eating a meal or paying their energy bills is really unacceptable.
The regulator Ofgem wants some of that debt written off, and the UK government's hinted at extra cost of living support in next week's budget. All this as winter bites and heating costs rise. David Henderson, Reporting Scotland.
It's been 3 months since Deputy First Minister Kate Forbes announced she's leaving politics because she doesn't want to miss any more precious time with her young family. In her near 10 years at Holyrood, she was seen as a rising star within the SNP, even a potential leader. I've been speaking to her in her hometown of Dingwall about her decision to go and why she says being a mum is the hardest job she's ever had. Kate Forbes has been an MSP for nearly a decade, rising through the ranks of the SNP to become Deputy First Minister. But in 6 months' time, she's walking away from all of it.
I went back to work post-maternity leave. It's always felt impossible. And every day has felt like an exercise in logistical impossibilities. And we got through it. It was like this epiphany and this bolt from the blue that I didn't have to. And I had choices that I could make.
I wonder if that chimed with a lot of women who feel like it is a struggle to keep everything on the rails, keep everything moving, but that they actually feel it's also very difficult to voice that.
I hear that a lot from other women, and I will hear it in the context of them saying it's really difficult, but it's not as difficult as your life and your work and your job. Well, from somebody who's done the second biggest job, as it were, in the Scottish Government and being a mum is harder. And I think all of us feel like some of these opportunities have been so hard fought by previous generations of women, and maybe therefore we're loath to express the fact that elements of it are actually insurmountable.
As a junior minister, Kate Forbes was thrust into the spotlight to deliver the budget when then Finance Minister Derek Mackay was forced to resign. From that point on, she was tipped as a potential successor to Nicola Sturgeon. She stood in the next leadership contest, but it was a battle that became categorised by party infighting and a focus on her Christian faith, specifically her stance on gay marriage, gender and children born out with marriage.
And I think the problem with our media culture, no offence, and particularly our social media culture, is there's no space for nuance. Everything is sort of dissolved down to small sound bites, which are very binary, like you're in or you're out, you're part of us or you're not. And in a lot of these issues, you know, there needs to be space for genuine, open conversation.
If one of your girls came to you and said, "Mum, I'm pregnant, I'm not married," or "Mum, I think I might be gay, or I might be trans," how do you think you would handle that?
Exactly as I handle everything that they come and speak to me about. Exactly as any mother handles anything that a daughter or a son, but I don't have sons, would come to them with, which is, you know, what do you need? I mean, this is, I think that I'm not challenging the question because you're totally legitimate to ask the question. But I think, again, the premise of that question is the suggestion that people of faith can't love their kids in the same way that anybody can love their kids.
Kate Forbes says she will continue to support independence from outside elected politics, but is ruling out a return to its front line.
From the very depths of my heart, I have no intentions of going back to politics.
Even as First Minister of an independent Scotland?
I have no desire to return to frontline politics anytime soon, and I don't think there's any prize that's big enough.
Kate Forbes speaking to me a little earlier this week. For retailers across Scotland, the run-up to Christmas brings a spike in one of their biggest problems, shoplifting. Levels of retail crime have more than doubled in the last 4 years. Part of the fight back is so-called Days of Action by Police Scotland, targeting known problem areas and known perpetrators. Stephen Godden joined officers in Glasgow.
Taking the fight against shoplifting to the streets of Glasgow.
We're just on foot patrol there on Argyll Street, just heading west, and we've seen a male been looking for a high value shoplifting for the past couple of weeks. We went, engaged with the male, turned out it was him we're looking for, and he's subsequently been arrested. He's going to be conveyed back to custody.
40 officers, uniformed and plain-clothed, patrolling the main shopping district on a so-called Day of Action.
So far so good. We've obviously got a group or certain individuals we need to target as part of the briefing this morning, and that's what we're looking to do, and subsequently this male has been wanted and we've come across him, which is good.
This coordinated effort is a response to a problem that's snowballed. The number of recorded incidents of retail crime has more than doubled in the past 4 years. Addiction and the cost of living only part of a complex story.
We have cross-border offences, cross-water offences going into Northern Ireland, organised crime groups travelling the country. It's every single day that we sit at our desks, we see these particular individuals being reported to us. So it's not just a Scotland issue.
In the makeshift control room, police tap into information from retailers.
We've got a description of 2 females in the mid-20s wearing puffer jackets.
One's wearing a black puffer jacket, black leggings, white trainers.
In Scotland, losses are counted in tens of millions. The biggest retailers employ loss protection officers, like this man who asked us to conceal his identity.
The problem's a lot worse, and I feel it's more lenient when you get to court, is the bit of the issue that we are finding. People are getting these offences and they're coming straight back out. You know, you had the early releases from Barlinnie, and these people are coming straight back into Glasgow city centre and continuing to offend.
Police say investment in a retail crime task force and days of action like this are making a dent in the problem, but they acknowledge there's still a long way to go. Stephen Gordon reporting Scotland, Glasgow.
Celtic's annual general meeting was abandoned this morning after shareholders jeered when director Ross Desmond accused some of the club's supporters of being bullies. The meeting had earlier been adjourned by chairman Peter Loyal less than 5 minutes after it started, following chants of sack the board by some shareholders. Kenny Crawford has more.
Late morning at Celtic Park and many of the club's shareholders back out in the cold, a lot earlier than expected.
It was shambolic, I think is the word I would use.
Really disappointing. It was quite volatile.
It was very difficult for the meeting to progress in a sensible way.
It was a disgrace the way the fans were treated, but it was also, I would say, a disgrace the way that Peter Loyal was treated right at the start.
So a strange old morning then, sir. Well, thanks for your time.
7-hour drive up from Leicester.
That's where you came from.
For a 12-minute meeting. I think that's abysmal.
Some fans would use similar terms to describe Celtic's season on the pitch. They trail leaders Hearts by 7 points and failed to reach the Champions League group stage. All of that has put major heat on the board, and while BBC Scotland were not invited to attend the AGM, plenty others witnessed events unfold.
The board walked in initially and were roundly booed and had red cards waved at their face, and within 5 minutes Chairman Peter Loyal had said they were going to take a half-hour adjournment. That then took place, the board came back in, the same scenario played out. But matters really reached a new level when Ross Desmond, who's the son of Celtic's major shareholder Dermot Desmond, read a pre-prepared statement in which he accused certain people of bullying directors and dehumanising them. And then people got to their feet, started shouting at him, and Peter Loyal then intervened again and said that the meeting was closed.
In relation to the disruption, Celtic later commented that such conduct is completely unacceptable and hugely disappointing. And while today's events are completely out with our control, clearly we regret the impact on our shareholders, who were deprived of the opportunity to take part in an orderly and constructive meeting.
We've invested time, money, emotion, a lifetime of time, money and emotion into following Celtic.
I'm pretty disillusioned. I mean, I'll always be there. I'll always support the team and the club, and hopefully we'll go on and get success this season. But you want answers.
Celtic's next question is how they deal with a tricky trip to St Mirren tomorrow. Kenny Crawford, reporting Scotland.
Some of the day's other stories now. A local authority is facing nearly 30 damages claims from families following a carbon monoxide leak at one of its primary schools. Earlier this year, East Dunbartonshire Council was fined in the criminal courts after admitting breaching health and safety conditions at Balmoody Primary School in Bishopbriggs in 2020. The council, which says it has a rigorous safety monitoring regime in place, is contesting dozens of civil claims about the incident. It's claimed making legal migrants wait 15 years before settling permanently in the UK would have a profoundly negative impact on Scotland's care sector. The organisation Scottish Care says the changes proposed last week by the Home Secretary would deter much-needed international workers. The current wait for permanent settlement on a health and care visa is 5 years. After videos of fans celebrating Scotland qualifying for the World Cup were removed from social media. The Scottish supporters group branded Europe's football governing body as out of touch. Rebecca Curran reports.
Scenes like this were repeated up and down the country on Tuesday night. Euphoric fans celebrating Scotland making it to their first World Cup in nearly 30 years after a sensational 4-2 win over Denmark. People were quick to share their joy online, but this video, filmed in Aberdeenshire, was removed by X after lawyers acting for UEFA said it breached their rules. It had been posted by the Scottish Football Supporters Association, who say several other videos were taken down and their account briefly suspended.
Has UEFA not got something better to do with their time than to interfere? And in fact, I think if UEFA looked at it positively, that reaction, those scenes, it's a perfect advertisement for the joy of football and what football can do.
But in an age where almost everyone has a phone at the ready, moments like these are captured and shared online within seconds. So could fans be one click away from landing themselves in legal hot water?
Here, it holds exclusive rights to all match footage. This evening, it has apologised to the Scottish Football Supporters Association, saying the videos were removed in error and they'll now be reinstated. So another win for the Tartan Army in what has been quite a week. Rebecca Curran reporting Scotland, Aberdeen.
Tonight's main news again. Low temperatures but higher bills. Households face a slight rise in the cost of energy as the price cap is increased.
Still to come in tonight's sport, Gregor Townsend insists he still has the appetite to take Scotland forward as pressure intensifies after last week's collapse against Argentina.
He's worked with some of the biggest names in the business, including Robert De Niro, Liam Neeson and Leonardo DiCaprio. But Hollywood director Michael Caton-Jones has had to get used to being in front of the camera for a new documentary about his own life story, which began in the West Lothian town of Broxburn. Our arts correspondent Pauline McLean reports.
This is a slate from my first feature film.
Michael Caton-Jones has a lot of memorabilia, but then he's made a lot of films. Those first films got him to Hollywood at an early age, where he gave an even younger star his first big break. Leo DiCaprio was just 16 when filming first began on This Boy's Life, alongside Robert De Niro.
Hate it here, you know that?
Essentially, I played his big brother while we were making the film. He was 16, and I would grab him, I'd put him in a headlock, I'd rub his head. But it was all to try and keep him loose, because he was in every single scene and the film depended on him. I didn't want to tell him that, you know, and he didn't realise that, so the best thing I could do was keep him thinking this was a game.
His biggest production on home turf was Rob Roy, which was critically acclaimed, despite being released in the same year as another epic, Braveheart.
They had a bucket load of money and we didn't have so much, and my plan was to use the landscape and figures in the landscape as opposed to an army in the landscape.
As well as the documentary, Michael's career will be celebrated in a new exhibition next spring. And while being on camera rather than behind one is unusual, he says he's glad to have played his part.
If I can encourage some kids sitting in a council house not thinking their life is going to amount to much, I am absolute proof positive that you can. I mean, I had nothing, I didn't get any hires or anything like that. I left school at 15 and a half and, I did all right. But you have to be prepared to work and you have to be prepared to look for what it is you want to do. When you find that, you've got to go for it.
Pauline McLean reporting Scotland, Broxburn.
Right, time now to get tonight's sport with Sheila, and after all the excitement, back to domestic action, I believe.
Yep, after an eventful week. It could be an eventful weekend, Laura. Let's see. Hello there. Rangers boss Danny Rowell is counting the cost of the international break, with at least 4 players facing spells on the sidelines. John Souttar was injured in the Scotland warm-up ahead of Tuesday's win over Denmark, while fellow centre-half Derek Cornelius went off during Canada's match with Venezuela. They're set to be out until the new year, along with Mikey Moore, who picked up a knock playing for England's under-19s. Bailey Rice is also undergoing surgery after a training injury.
Honestly, when you send your players away in the national break and you start 10, I think last time you asked me how close I am with my starting 11, then you have a little bit of view what could happen, but on the other side, this is football. It happens. I know this because I worked for both sides. For the national team, it's important to have the players. It's always an honor to play for your own country. As a club manager, you always want to protect your players, is what it is.
Well, Hearts boss Derek McInnes hopes the whole of Scottish football can benefit from the trickle effect of World Cup qualification as he prepares to take his table-topping side to Aberdeen.
brilliant moment for him when he came in today. We had a wee round of applause at the team meeting this morning. Along with Kabore getting a hat-trick as well when he's away with his country. So obviously the boys are strong and having the best season possible, and then try to cement their place in the squad now.
Well, Jimmy Tilleen has urged his Aberdeen team to grasp the big opportunity to show they're heading in the right direction by inflicting Hearts' first league defeat of the season when they meet on Sunday.
In the beginning of the season, we have
Still has the appetite to lead Scotland amid growing pressure after last weekend's frustrating collapse at home to Argentina in the autumn test at Murrayfield. Ahead of Sunday's match against Tonga, Townsend was grilled by our chief sports writer.
That's your opinion, Tom. I would say I've seen the team play the best rugby it's played in the 8 years of the last 2 or 3 weeks. Now we're very disappointed we didn't get a win against New Zealand or didn't get a win against Argentina, especially Argentina both games, when we created enough against New Zealand and when we were 21-0 up against Argentina.
Well, more from that interesting exchange on Reporting Scotland News at 7 on the BBC Scotland channel.
Sheila, thank you very much indeed. Now, also coming up on tonight's News at 7, they've been speaking to a group of children who are getting ready for one of the biggest performances. The theatre group Ups and Downs is set up for children with... The theatre group Ups and Downs is set up for children with Down syndrome. On Saturday night, they'll be performing at Scotland's largest indoor music venue, the Glasgow Hydro, where they'll be one of the support acts for singer Callum Beattie. And they'll not have to deal with me speaking over them. Right, time now for a look at the weather with Christopher. I blame the cold weather. It was -6 when I got up this morning.
Yes, and that wasn't the coldest spot either. It was negative double digits. Beautiful scenes, though, from our weather watchers with the snow on the ground and blue sky through the course of this week. But there is a thaw on the way with temperatures coming back up again. Let me explain all. Thank you. Good evening to you. Yes, it has been a bit of a cold week, hasn't it? That's an understatement. And snow on the ground with temperatures last night at -12.6 at Tomintoul in Murray. That's the coldest November temperature in 15 years. But take a look at these numbers here. The left-hand column, what we saw today. By Thursday next week, back to double digits. But how do we get there? Let's take a look. This is this evening and overnight. Outbreaks of rain moving from the west to the east. Quite wet through central and southern Scotland. Drier further north with a few showers. Temperatures 2 to 5 Celsius. But in the east, actually, those temperatures will be climbing for you as we head through towards dawn tomorrow. This weekend, and we've got low pressure with us. It won't be quite as chilly. There'll be some showers or longer spells of rain and some sunshine at times too. Tomorrow probably seeing the best of the sun. Initially cloudy and wet, and then that rain clears with some sunshine developing across many parts of the country, but you'll notice a few showers developing in the west, coming in on westerly winds, which will be generally light to moderate at this stage of the day. And with those showers in the west, more in the way of cloud, but come further east, sunnier skies for you, Edinburgh, in towards Dundee and Aberdeen. But towards the west coast, you can see those showers will be more frequent, 1 or 2 on the heavy side as well, and temperatures nowhere near as chilly as it has been. Tomorrow evening and tomorrow night, we've got some clear skies, and then you can see some showers and outbreaks of rain behind me there moving in for Sunday, because for the second half of the weekend, low pressure still with us, working its way south-eastwards. And that means for some through central and southern Scotland, cloudy and wet with outbreaks of rain. Further north, drier, best of the sunshine towards Inverness, Stornoway and the Northern Isles. Temperatures around 5 to 8 Celsius. The winds, though, notice coming back to a northerly. And really, that is the beginning of next week, a north wind, but high pressure is trying to move in. So this is the picture on Monday. Yes, we have a northerly, but it won't be the depth of cold that we had this week. There's still a few showers around, really only wintry over the hills and high ground. Tuesday, that high pressure is overhead, so it's dry with plenty of sunshine around. Temperatures, though, still struggling for the time of year, 4 to 6 Celsius. Midweek, Wednesday into Thursday, look at that on the air mass chart, a slice of something a good bit milder. And this is what I mean by that. You can see as we approach Thursday, temperatures 10 to 12 Celsius, still some outbreaks of rain. If you want a dry and fine day, Tuesday looks like your best bet. That's the forecast for now.
What a difference. Christopher, thank you very much. Now tonight's main news again. Households will see a slight rise in energy prices in the depths of winter after regulator Ofgem outlined its next price cap. The 0.2% increase will take effect at the start of January. Christopher and I will be here with your late news and weather at around 10:30 tonight. But until then, from everyone on the team, have a great weekend when it comes, and thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.